After House Republicans refused to comply with congressional subpoenas for 2 years under Democrats, they're now demanding that President Biden's Justice Department comply with theirs. But the DOJ has said no, and the GOP is upset, and karma is a bitch. This one's funny. This is a good story. I like this bit of news. I like to see payback and turnabout being fair play, especially after years and years and years under the Clinton administration, under the Bush administration, certainly under the Obama administration, and even for 2 years under the Biden administration, seeing Republicans consistently behave in bad faith, consistently defy and change norms whenever it was convenient for them to gain a short-term advantage, and to basically try to create this asymmetry of expectations. Republicans can do whatever the hell they want, whenever they want. Norms, traditions, good faith be damned. But Democrats, well, you all better play by the rules that we constantly break. Rules for thee, not for me. And unfortunately, to somebody like me, it's very, very frustrating that Democrats very often continue to observe those norms and traditions and rules. I guess for some reason just expecting that eventually Republicans will have some sort of grand moral epiphany and decide, you know what, we need to come back to the table. We need to start negotiating in good faith. We need to start playing by the same rules. Hasn't happened yet. And finally, it seems like Democrats are slowly learning their lesson. And what do I mean? Well, the Department of Justice has denied the House GOP's request for information on ongoing investigations. Okay. So in the November midterms, the Republican Party won the majority in the House of Representatives, as you well know. So one of 2 congressional chambers is back under control of Republicans, with a very slim majority and a Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, who's basically impotent because he had to give away the farm in order to win the speakership in the first place. So he is a very ineffective leader of the House, and he's going to be held hostage by really any committed group of Republicans who demand concessions from him, particularly the Freedom Caucus, the far-right, Trump-aligned element of the House of Representatives. But since they nominally control the House of Representatives, they have the gavel, they get to determine the composition of congressional committees, they get the chairmanships or chairwomanships, so they're the administrative power in that particular branch. And that means they get to, in theory, launch whatever investigations they want. But because we live under, nominally, a framework of separation of powers and 3 co-equal branches, the branches have to cooperate, right? And so the Republican House of Representatives has threatened to launch one volley of vengeful investigation after another into Hunter Biden, into the withdrawal from Afghanistan, into the Biden crime family, and now into the situation with classified documents, which were found in President Biden's home. Now, those same Republicans, FYI, as a reminder, they did not give a you-know-what about the classified documents which were found in former President Donald Trump's home, even though the National Archives and the Justice Department spent over a year trying to get the damn things back and had to try to negotiate. They had to issue a subpoena, and then finally they had to issue or execute a search warrant into President Trump's personal home to get the damn things back after Trump lied again and again and again. But they didn't care about that. They said it wasn't a priority. Well, now classified documents are a priority, of course, because it can be used to hurt Biden. But the great thing about all this is that the Republican House Judiciary Committee has requested that the Justice Department, the nation's chief law enforcement organism, which is investigating President Biden in addition to Donald Trump through their special counsels, they want the Department of Justice to comply with subpoenas in terms of information, in terms of witnesses. And the Justice Department has basically said, no, not going to happen, which I like. That's good. Glad to see it. So Axios breaks it down a bit. The Justice Department signaled Friday that it's not going to share information about ongoing investigations with the GOP-led House per a letter obtained by Politico. And we'll look at that particular letter in a moment. The letter to House Judiciary Chair Representative Jim Jordan comes after the Ohio Republican announced that the GOP-led committee is seeking to conduct an oversight of the Justice Department's actions related to President Biden's handling of classified documents. In a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland last week, Jordan requested a number of documents and communications, including between the DOJ, the FBI, and President Biden's office. What they're saying: the DOJ's letter states that any oversight requests must be weighed against the department's interests in protecting the integrity of its work, the DOJ's legislative affairs chief wrote. Longstanding department policy prevents us from confirming or denying the existence of pending investigations in response to congressional requests or providing non-public information about our investigations. The department's mission to independently and impartially uphold the rule of law requires us to maintain the integrity of our investigations, prosecutions, and civil actions, and to avoid even a perception that our efforts are being influenced by anything but the law and facts. So they have to avoid even the perception that their investigations are being pressured by political considerations, like, say, a vengeful Republican Party looking to punish the sitting president politically. And of course, they respond. The House, the Republican-led House, is basically powerless to stop this. Right now, Congress as a whole, could probably do something to try to compel the Justice Department. Certainly, if the courts back them up, but they essentially, with the slim majority that they have in the House of Representatives and a Democratic-led Senate and a president who can veto pretty much anything at this point, they're basically just reduced to complaining about it on Twitter, which I like. I like that. I like that they're basically impotent to force President Biden's Justice Department to comply, especially, again, when the double standard has been for Republicans to not comply. And so this is the letter obtained by Politico addressed to the Honorable Jim Jordan. And it's basically in a very roundabout way. I mean, it's filled with platitudes. They're saying, look, just give us the particulars of what you're requesting. We look forward to a productive relationship with the 118th Congress. The department stands ready to provide expertise as the committee considers potential legislation. But there's some key phrases in here that indicate that it's not going to be a blank check. And the Justice Department reserves the right to just tell Congress no. While the department strives to answer congressional inquiries promptly, ensuring the accuracy and completeness of information that the department provides to Congress is a matter of utmost importance. So basically, these investigations are ongoing. We need to be able to provide you, if we choose to provide you, but we need to be able to provide you accurate and complete information, and you need to take it. But the greater passages still are why we will work diligently to accommodate a request for public testimony. It may not always be possible to participate or to address all the topics the committee wishes to raise, meaning there's some things you're just going to hear no on. We're not going to give you witnesses for everything. We're not going to be able to address everything. You'll get what we give you, and you'll like it. And I love that energy coming from Biden's Justice Department. When information is not appropriate for a public hearing, we will make appropriate efforts to determine if such information can be shared in a different setting, so like in a closed setting where it's not open to the public, such as a briefing, a closed hearing, or through the provision of other information. Once the format of the hearings or briefing is established and the relevant topics and the number of panels have been determined, the department will identify one or more officials to appear after consideration of all factors, including their schedules, their position, and other suitability concerns. I love that. And then, of course, it gets into consistent with longstanding policy and practice. Oversight requests, have to be weighed. You don't get a blank check to ask for whatever you want. We will also determine what we are in a position to share. And if we determine we're not in a position to share certain things with you, you're not going to hear it. Ted Lieu, who is he is a Democratic congressman. I love how he smugly pointed this out. He actually quote tweeted Peter Strzok, who was an FBI agent who worked under Bob Mueller during the Russia investigation. Peter Strzok pointed out the department's longstanding policy is to decline to provide congressional committees with access to open law enforcement files. Again, they don't get a blank check. Sadly for Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congressman Perry, and others, no exceptions for the files of the investigations of members of Congress. And it cites a letter from 2000. Where this policy was really enshrined. The open matters concern is especially significant with respect to ongoing law enforcement investigations. The department's longstanding policy is to decline to provide congressional committees with access to open law enforcement files. Attorney General Jackson's position was not new. His letter cited prior Attorney General letters taking the same position dating back to the beginning of the 20th century. So many of these people are potentially under Department of Justice investigations, and that's kind of the speculation that they're looking to see what the DOJ has on them as well. And the DOJ can just say, nope. And of course, Ted Lieu quote tweeted this, and he smugly pointed out, "I will be regularly reminding the American people that incoming Judiciary GOP Chairman Jim Jordan ignored a bipartisan congressional subpoena." And that one's really important, okay, because Jim Jordan is trying to get the Department of Justice saying, hey, look, we're going to issue subpoenas. We expect you to comply. That's the right thing to do. Except he didn't do that when he was under bipartisan congressional subpoena for the House January 6th Select Committee. They issued him a testimony for his potential involvement in the events leading up to January 6th, and he declined to, respect it. And so now turnabout's fair play. And as a result, he was referred to the House Ethics Committee by the Democratic majority before the end of last year. So anyway, this is the kind of energy that we need to see from a vigorous Biden administration, one that will respect due process and separation of powers, but isn't just going to roll over and play in good faith with a party that never does. The thing about good faith is it has to be reciprocal. If you and I are having an interaction and you behave in good faith and I behave in bad faith, by default, we're having a bad faith interaction. It requires reciprocity. And that's really what the Democrats are now, I think, some Democrats are now seeing. At long last, the GOP doesn't behave in good faith. They behave in consistent bad faith, which means they're not entitled to consistent good faith from the Democratic Party. And I know that pisses off a lot of moderates and centrists who are like, no, this is politics. You have to always be good and pure, and operate to a consistently higher ethical standard in contemporary politics, even when your opponent will gut you with it politically. That's crap. That is crap. Traditions, norms, good faith, they require reciprocity. A rule that is ignored by the other party consistently is not a rule. It's a snare that they use against you. So, again, love this story. Would have loved to have seen Jim Jordan's face as he read the letter with the department basically giving him the finger. We need to see more of this, and hopefully we will for the remainder of President Biden's term. And then hopefully for another 4 years of Democratic presidency. Hey, you! Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, and I hope that you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And if you absolutely hated the video, the best revenge for you is also to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. That'll teach me. If you want to share an opinion or share some feedback, go ahead and leave a comment, all right? 2023 is a year of change, hence the aggressive rebrand and commitment to new content. Inspired by my friends Luke Beasley and STV Philly, my personal goal for this channel is to hit 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So I'm hoping you'll do me a solid by spreading the word and the videos to potential fans and hate watchers alike. And in the meantime, we'll be pondering politics again with you very soon.